What's up, folks? Welcome back. It's a double stream day, apparently. It's been an extremely tactical Tuesday today. My day was carefully planned out. It was perfectly scheduled so that I could play my GT game this evening and get all of my packing and preparation done. There's still a bunch of shit on my table back there that I'm actively working on before I leave for Dallas. And then, of course, we had to get a huge drop. The entire Space Wolf supplement has been dumped unceremoniously into our laps like a cute, fuzzy puppy dog. And that's what we're here to talk about. We've got all of it. We've got the, I believe that we have all of it. We have all of the detachments. We have all of the data sheets. It's all ready to go, to my knowledge. So we'll dive into it, I guess. Let's hop in here. When we are going. Cool. Here we go. So we're going to start with the detachments. We are working a little bit off of the Warhammer community release spoilers, I guess, that we got from the preview articles. But now we have the actual rules to sort of match to the previews that we got for them. So as we talked about previously, all of the detachments are based on sagas that you would have previously from the old Champions of Rust detachment. But now each of those sagas is its own detachment with its own unique mechanics. So Saga of the Hunter allows you to make each time a Space Wolves unit from your army makes an attack. So it's important to note as well. I think... Oh, did I mess up my... Oh, okay. Well, this one is out of order, so I apologize for that. Let's talk about the army rules, first of all. The important thing to note is that there are no special rules for Space Wolf keywords. However, so a standard Astartes character or whatever is not a Space Wolf character. Like we talked about I think we talked about it yesterday. The way that the keywords work is that you choose to play an Adeptus Astartes army, and you'll notice that some of your armies are Space Wolves units. If you include any Space Wolves units, you can use a Space Wolves detachment, but you cannot use any other chapter keywords. However, non-Space Wolves things in a Space Wolves army are not necessarily Space Wolves. So a Space Wolf, an Adeptus Astartes Space Wolf unit is the only thing that is going to be eligible for any of the Space Wolf specific synergies in this codex. However, I should mention that many things like enhancements or abilities will affect all Astartes versus only Space Wolves. So they did clearly think about it. It's not that you can only assign things like enhancements and upgrades and stratagems to Space Wolves units. Some of them are generic Adeptus Astartes. Some of them are Space Wolves specific Astartes. It's it is odd that much of the codex is split in between it, and I imagine the guys for sure going to be a little it's a little jarring for sure. It's weird because it's not, there's no other Space Marine chapter that works this way. I guess Dark Angels do kind of, but they contribute their special keywords to other stuff. So like Ravenwing and Deathwing, your Terminators are Deathwing units. They will get the keywords. Your Biker units are Ravenwing units. So those are bifurcated a little bit, but not in as stark of a differentiation as the Space Wolf stuff, which is going to be pretty weird to play with. And I definitely think that some people are going to mess that up. I mean, we even, the first time we were talking about the preview articles, kind of were confused about this interaction. I was halfway through, wait a minute. None of these say Astartes, they all say Space Wolves. And there's that works exactly how you think it is. So something that affects an Astartes unit will affect both regular vanilla Astartes and Space Wolves. Something that will affect only Space Wolves units will not affect vanilla Astartes. Only the Space Wolf units. So keep that in mind, I guess, while we're discussing this. Now, we talked about, you have Oath of Omen if you're playing Space Wolves. You have Curse of the Wulfen So when you are within 6 inches of a Space Wolf non-Wulfen character, again, there's that distinction. This only works on the character models from this book, the ones with the Space Wolves keyword. Non-Space Wolf characters don't work in there. Kind of feels like they're planning a big Space Wolves as a separate codex in the future. Yeah, I think so too. So you get +1 to objective control characteristic of Wulfen infantry models. And you get +3 to objective control characteristic of Wulfen vehicle models. If you have the Curse of the Wulfen ability, which I'm sure you do, all the Wulfen do, that range gets extended to 12 inches if the character in question is a wolf priest. Might as well keep my camera on all day. Yeah, if I didn't have to take it down and pack it up, then I for sure would. Sagas. Each attachment in the book includes a saga. These are the saga abilities that will give you effects once you do a special thing. And we looked at a couple of those. Once you destroy like half of your opponent's monstrous vehicles, you get bonuses for Saga of the Beastslayer. Let's talk about Saga of the Hunter real quick. This one is definitely okay. These two got swapped in the order is what happened, which is why I got confused. That's okay. In my while I was putting this together. All right, Saga of the Hunter. Detachment ability. Each time a Space Wolf unit from your army, again, Space Wolves, not Astartes, only the ones from the Codex, makes a melee attack that targets an enemy unit. If the enemy unit is within engagement range of one or more Astartes units, so if they're engaging literally anything from your army, or the attacking unit contains more models of the enemy, and you get +1 to hit and +1 to wound if you've completed your saga. So as long as you are ganging up on your opponent, and this is a benefit for the 10-man units, these bigger wolf packs that we're seeing with like Blood Closet, Grey Hunters, where you can take a bunch of models in a unit. Benefit of that is that you will be outnumbering your opponent a lot of times, so you're going to be automatically getting this. However, you can also get it if, for example, you like charge a utility unit like an ATB into an enemy and then charge them with your Space Wolf unit. You're going to get the benefit of the detachment ability. Kind of jumping through some hoops, but a passive +1 to hit in melee is not a bad detachment ability. +1 to wound once you've unlocked it is huge. The Saga, at the start of the first battle round, your Quarry tally is 0. Each time a Astartes unit from your army fights, after all those attacks have been resolved, add 1 to your Quarry tally for each enemy unit destroyed by those attacks. Once your Quarry tally is equal to or greater than the number shown on the table below, your Saga is completed. That is 3 units for a Strike Force game. So once you have destroyed 3 things in melee with, keywords important here, literally anything in your army, so you could do this with JPIs and stuff, for example, you will get 1 to your Quarry tally. If you do that 3 times, then you get +1 to wound on all of your important keywords here. Space Wolf units only. So, unfortunately, this keywording, ooh boy, that's convoluted. Now, the ability is good. Getting things like just like a passive +1 to hit on like head takers and stuff, and big units of Blood Claws and Wolfguard, and Grey Hunters is going to be strong. +1 to wound as well. You can also potentially be getting those on like Wulfen. Is it going to be a big deal? You could get them on your Dreadnoughts. That is a big one. Jumping through the hoop to get the +1 to wound is probably not impossible, but a little tough as long as you're focusing on melee units. And then an army-wide +1 to wound in melee is wild, as long as you can gang up on your target. So interesting. I don't know if I love the hoof, but +1 to wound is huge for sure. If you use a Fenrisian wolf, that's true. Yeah, we could use the little tiny wolf units to go turn on the Saga of the Hunter abilities. Yeah, so I think it's probably the case that it's going to be more reliable than you expect, most likely. And especially like you come late game, like a unit of 10 guys. If your unit of 10 guys, if you shoot at a target unit and then a unit of 10 guys charges them, 90% of the time they're outnumbering them, right? Like unless you're playing Green Tide or something, as soon as you kill a single model in a defending unit, your 10 blood claws or whatever are outnumbering them, and you're going to get the bonus regardless. So I think this is probably easier to trigger than we expect. Also like getting it with like by combo charging with jump pack intercessors or ATVs or Fenrisian wolves, all that stuff is probably going to be good. Enhancements. Swift Hunter gives you Scout 7 on Space Wolves only. So you can't use it on little idiot Space Marine characters. But Scout 7 is a great ability. It's also models in the Bearers unit, which means if you embark a transport, the transport can also have Scout. Which is going to be sweet, because every model inside the unit will get it. So, love that. Fenrisian Grit. 4+ feel no pain. Important keyword here, literally any character. So we can do like a Gladius Task Force, Gravis Captain kind of thing, where you take an individual character and give him a 4+ feel no pain. It's probably going to be good on Iron Priests. It's probably going to be good on a lot of the tankier characters in the faction, making them super tough to kill. That's probably a very good one. Hopefully it's not super expensive. If it's like 25 points, it's going to be a tough sell. But if it's like 15 or so, I think that's going to be really cool for like a little utility guy. Yeah, you could even put it on something like I don't know, just like random like Phobos lieutenants or something that like run around the table, which might be kind of neat. Wolf Master, Space Wolves only, so non-generic Astartes. In your command phase, select one friendly Space Wolf unit within 9 until the start of your next command phase. Teeth, Claws, Ternak, and Fenrir all have lethal hits. So that's, I guess, specifically for the Thunderwolves, for Logan, Grimnar, and for Fenrisian Wolves. Lethal hits is probably the least exciting ability to grant these things. So that's probably going to be like kind of I don't know, it's kind of whatever. It's a little weird that they cut all of the Thunderwolf characters and then gave them like a almost exclusively Thunderwolf specific ability or enhancement. And unfortunately, being command phase locked and not like movement phase, it's going to be a little bit awkward to use. So I don't know if I love this one as much. Hopefully it's cheap, and if it's like a points filler, it might be good. Feral Rage is the last one. It's open to any Adeptus Astartes unit. You can add +1 to the attack characteristic of your melee weapons equipped by the bearer. When you add a charge move, you get an additional +1. So up to +2 attacks. Probably pretty effective on like jump captains, it feels like, maybe. Things with like high impact attacks would be good. I imagine just like standard Space Marine captains are going to be pretty sweet with that too. You can obviously put it on like your Space Wolf specific characters, like Wolf Priests potentially might like this, or Wolfguard battle leaders. But yeah, it's in terms of the power level of offensive enhancements, it's not super strong, but it's going to be a nice inclusion for sure. Definitely. Anyone have Lance? Well, you will get Lance if you complete your saga on literally your whole army, almost essentially. Like it's a side grade from Lance, or maybe a little downgrade from Lance, but it works even if you have not charged. We talked about this already. I just misordered my Codex. Stratagems for Saga of the Hunter. Envelop and ensnare. You target a Space Wolf unit from your army, non-generic. Excluding monsters and vehicles, you get a 6-inch pile and consolidate. We love to see it. Those are good, especially on 10-mans, because the weird combat movement for 10-mans is actually going to be really good. So I think that's also OC3 Grey Hunters, chat. Like, just imagine those fuckers just getting all up in your business. It's going to be horrible. Like 2 Grey Hunters will take objectives from most people. And with 6-inch pile and consolidate, they're everywhere. So that's obnoxious. Territorial advantage is an obsec. It's usable in your fight phase, however, after an enemy unit is destroyed by an Astartes unit from your army. So it works on anything. If the Astartes unit is in range of objective marker, you obsec it. It's kind of cute. Doing it in the fight phase is, I guess, good if it's like a mid-board objective or your expansion objective and your opponent comes to take it. Like they throw a utility unit onto it and then you just murder them and use their like smear their blood on the objective. You're like, I'm marking my territory, guys. So that's actually also probably pretty good, because then you no longer, like, if they have no more utility to throw at it, you no longer have to worry about that objective. So that's cool. It also doesn't require. So it doesn't require that the enemy unit be on an objective. It does have to be before you consolidate. So your model has to be touching the objective, but the enemy doesn't have to. And the enemy doesn't have to have controlled that objective. So it's not like you take an objective from them and then mark it. Even if they are just touching it randomly and you kill them, you can get it, as long as the unit that killed them is on the objective. Or even if they're an inch away and your base touches them and overhangs the objective, you can also get it. Which is, I think, probably going to confuse a lot of people. It's not like a storm hustle or anything. You just kill a guy, and if you kill a guy and or on an objective, you upsec the objective. Overwhelming Onslaught. Usable in the fight phase after an enemy unit has selected its targets, to targeting 2 Adeptus Astartes units from your army within engagement range of an enemy unit. It's 2, not up to 2, or 1 Space Wolf Beast unit. So Fenrisian Wolves, they get -1 to hit. Given the fact that you are trying to gang up on targets, the chances that you are in melee with 2 things is reasonable. The beasts, I imagine, are not difficult to kill, so like a -1 to hit is only marginally effective, but sometimes it's going to be good if you're like being an annoying little guy and touching, like engaging everyone. It's a whelming onslaught. Chosen Prey, usable in your movement phase after you fall back. You can fall back, shoot, and charge. Great stratagem. We love to see it. Bounding Advance. You use it when you use it on a unit that has not been selected to move or declared a charge this phase. Until the end of the phase, each time a model in your unit makes a normal, advance, or fallback move, fallback or charge move, you can move through models. You can move within engagement range of enemy models, unless you're making a charge move, but you cannot end up moving engaging them. I don't believe that this, if you use using this on fallback moves is actually kind of pointless, because I don't believe that it prevents you from taking desperate breakout checks. That might need to be clarified, or maybe I'm wrong and I'm an idiot, but I think you still have to take desperate breakout if you move through enemies, which means it's like basically pointless because you might as well not use it. That's weird. I guess it allows your, it's infantry or beast, so you can't move vehicles through vehicles or anything. Yeah, I don't know. That's not a very good stratagem. That's bad. That's a bad stratagem. I guess it allows you to, like, if you get a big, you have to use it when you declare a charge. Oh, has not been declared a charge. So you use it before you charge. So you don't know how far you're moving when you charge. So there's like a situation potentially where like you want to engage multiple units with your unit, and then like you get better positions if you can move through enemies when you do that. But then you just you're like required to base them more. I think this stratagem is just super trash. It's not a good effect, but that's okay. Yeah. It's a whole lot of words. That is a whole lot of words. Marked for Destruction is the next one. 2 Adeptus Astartes units from your army that have not been selected to shoot this phase. Selected 1 visible enemy unit. It's visible to both the targets. So you can't do the thing where you select 1 unit on the back edge of the table and then 1 unit that's shooting to give them a benefit. Until the end of the phase, models in your units can only target that enemy unit. Importantly, this I love that you exclude beasts, so you can't like use your Fenrisian wolves to spot, but you can use like dudes who are just out of range. They just have to be visible. And then the guys who are out of range like don't even need to attack the target. So it is what it is. But then you get reroll wound rolls of 1. That's like a fine ability. I don't know. These are whatever. This is like an almost entirely melee detachment, but like we don't get this. Here's the weird thing though. It's the Saga of the Hunter detachment, but there's no ability to advance and charge. So like, I don't know. The completed Saga effect seems really strong, but I think it doesn't feel like the jumping through all the hoops is great because the detachment doesn't seem to me like it really sets you up for that. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but it feels like you would prefer not to jump through hoops and maybe get a detachment that supports your game plan a little bit better. I don't know. This is like very mediocre. It feels like to be. I like the detachment ability. That might be my favorite part of the entire detachment, and the enhancements are good too. But the stratagems are really not there. We'll talk about Saga of the Bold. It's the next one. This is the one that got spoiled by Warhammer community, and it seems great. So importantly, big difference between these two detachments. This detachment only makes only affects Space Wolf units. This detachment affects everything. So if the Saga is unlocked. So like on a base level, Saga of the Bold is going to have a greater impact, I think, on the army because it's going to hit all your units rather than forcing you to like play for the Space Wolf stuff. The Space Wolf stuff is likely to be like, I guess, the strongest like combat units. So if you're playing the combat detachment, that's probably not a huge difference, but not getting it on stuff like Jump Pack Assault Intercessors is really weird. And it's going to be problematic, especially because JPIs like have a perfect setup for Saga of the Hunter. Because if they charge an equal size unit and kill one model with an impact attack, suddenly they would be triggering Pax Quarry. But they don't get it, so it's like stupid. I don't know. Yeah, whatever. Saga of the Hunter, not great. Saga of the Bold might be good. So you get a floating reroll if your saga is completed each time anything in your army shoots or fights. Love it. Baseline, your Ironstorm Spearhead. Once you, with a caveat. If you are a Space Wolf unit, you get a floating a Space Wolf character, excuse me, not Space Wolf unit, Space Wolf character specifically. You get 1 hit wound and damage regardless of whether or not your saga is completed. Great ability. We love to see it. This one's awesome. We talked about the sagas. I think when we talked about them yesterday, we did misinterpret maybe that you couldn't score them with non-Space Wolf characters, which does kind of restrict their usefulness quite a bit. So Saga of the Bold triggers each time a Space Wolf character unit from your army does one of these 3 things. Once you have done at least 3 of them, then you get the completed saga effect, where everyone gets a super hardcore floating reroll, 1 hit, 1 wound, and 1 damage roll. So it affects everything, and it's reroll a million dice, and it's awesome. So the floating reroll is like hit, wound, or damage. This is hit, wound, and a damage, which is like, what should we call that? It's not floating because you just get it. What other stuff has that? Like the Knights get it, but they don't reroll damage rolls, right? Like the Rogel Dorn, like commander ability. What's theirs called? The Rogel Dorn commander ability is called shot. We should call it a called shot. A sinking reroll? That's the opposite of a floating reroll. I like called shot. That sprint's pretty good. The addition of less rerolls, yeah. I mean, they did do that in that literally like only Space Marines get rerolls, but who knows? Eldari Index had it. Yeah, it was good. All right. So sagas. This is a little bit of a recap, but we might as well talk about them. Here's what we got. So you have to complete 3 different ones. So if you complete the same one twice, it doesn't do anything. So keep that in mind. Your hide as a trophy is destroy your Oath of Moment target. Slay them all is destroy your an Oath of Moment target 2 times with the same character unit. It doesn't have to be the one that scores your first one, your first saga. It just requires that you will probably be, in fairness, but it just requires that you kill 2 Oaths of Moment targets over the course of the game. We talked about for a while that this is like probably triggers when you destroy a character unit, so you get it if you destroy an attached unit that was targeted by Oaths of Moment, because you destroy 2 separate Oaths of Moment target. But I'm not 100% sure. The overrun their position. If you end either player's turn wholly within your opponent's deployment zone, there are likely to be some number of characters that will like be good rapid ingressors, and if that's the case, then overrun their position is going to be great. That used to be Logan Grimnar, but it might be Arjac now, because I feel like that guy might just be a little sweet dude to run around in your opponent's backline, like absolutely destroy tanks and stuff. Just let him loosen an artillery line and then just like watch him go to town. Hold the line is the next one. From the second battle line onwards, at the end of your command phase, that unit's within range of an objective marker you control not in your deployment zone is super easy to get off. You just have to put them on a defended like expansion objective and then call it a day. So that one's like really easy to do. If you do a rapid ingress, this one's pretty easy to do. You can probably get this one over the course of the game. I think the hope is that you get this by like battle round 3. Importantly, unlike a lot of these effects, actually, let's check the saga rules, but I believe that those complete immediately. Yeah, they just complete. So once you have done the third thing, it doesn't care at the timing at which you achieve the boast. So if you compare this to something like Coterie of the Conceited or something, where you complete your Slaaneshi pledge at the end of the battle rounds, these trigger instantaneously. So as soon as you score the third boast, all of these become active and you get the floating rerolls on all your future activations, which is kind of cool. So you don't have to wait a battle round for it to be done, which is nice. So if you're like, I have 2 out of the 3, I have the 2 maneuver ones, I've oathed an idiot unit that's stupid. If I just start my shooting phase by shooting it with my Space Marine target, or with my Space Wolf character unit and killing them, I'll complete the oath and all the rest of my guys will get rerolls, which is nice. Yeah, Corn Demon can blood tithe points like already in command phase only, unless you use the weird strat. Yeah, for sure, that's a good one. Hope by round 3, yeah, it's cool because it kind of requires like a plan for you to make sure that you get all your stuff done, which is kind of neat. No commentators here. Inky, what do you think about Saga of the Bold? You want to tell me? They come up? No, not today. It's gonna be a floor cat today. Enhancements: Braggart's Steel, +2 strength. If your unit has achieved a boast, add +1 damage as well. +1 damage is big, but I guess it's good if you can like. Again, it's like gun units are probably sweet. Like if you can get. If this is a character that you can like shoot a utility unit to death with like an attached Grey Hunter unit or something to get that the damage bonus, then it's good. But you gotta kind of like work for it. I guess maybe like a Grey Hunter squad that has an attached like Wolfguard battle leader, and then they can gain sustained hits, potentially rerolls, and you can buff the Wolfguard battle leader if they kill something. That might be nice. I don't know. Here's the thing too. The boasts, and this is important to note, the boasts are achieved regardless of whether or not a different unit achieved them. And this could get FAQ'd, because I don't know if this is the intention, but we'll find out. So, for example, if your Space Wolf character unit destroys your Oath of Moment target, that boast is achieved regardless of whether or not it counts towards the completion of your saga. There's nothing that says otherwise. It doesn't say the first time that a character unit destroys an Oath of Moment target. It just says each time a Space Wolf character unit destroys your Oath of Moment target. So you can trigger this without even if someone else has already done this ability before. It's just that the second time you trigger this will only buff the Braggart Steel, but it won't add to your tally because you have to have the tally has to be 3 different boasts. But it also means that if this is like a unit of dudes who can like go into your opponent's deployment zone, you could just get this by overrunning, or I guess hold the line. Actually, this is probably much easier to trigger than I expected, because you just have to be on an objective to get +1 damage. All right, so that's actually pretty good. now that I'm considering it. Skjald is another good one. Any Adeptus Astartes character, each time a Space Wolf unit from your army achieves a boast, if your barrel's on the battlefield, you get 1 CP. We talked about this as like a good place because it goes on any character. You can put it on like an ancient or some stupid idiot who's like in the back line, and then they're just like generating you command points each time you do any of these things. Downside is that you're almost like guaranteed to be playing Bjorn the Fell-Handed, who just does that anyway, which actually means this might be just like the least playable enhancement ever. Because like Bjorn is so fucking good in this detachment. I feel like you're just gonna do that. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe if you don't want to play like a 200-point Dreadnought character, you can play a little like 60-point dude who's gonna get you CP instead. But Bjorn just feels really good, so I don't know. Horde Slayer is the next one. Start of the fight phase. If there are more enemy models than friendly models wholly within 6 inches of the bearer, until the end of the phase, you get +2 attacks. If the bearer's unit has achieved 1 or more oaths, add +3 instead. Pretty nice one if you have a little baby unit, but might be a little bit tough to trigger. It's matchup dependent, which is not usually what you want to be doing. Unless he's like all by himself. If he's alone, it's also holy. Holy within 6, so it like probably doesn't track vehicles. Also, the character himself is a friendly model wholly within 6 inches of himself. It doesn't say other friendly models, so you need at least 2 enemies to trigger it. Yeah, that's a hoop. I don't know. +2 attacks is great, but Thunderwolf's Fortitude, Astartes model only. First time bearer is destroyed. Set it on a 2+, set it back up on the battlefield as close as possible to its remaining. Phenomenal. Okay. You're going to take that like every time. That's good on Gravis Captains. It's good on the little fucking, the idiot, what do you call him? The stupid Combi Lieutenant. That's also phenomenal. That's a great enhancement. That's always playable every time you get one of those. Stratagems. Talk about these bad mamma jammas. Inspiring Presence, usable in the fight phase. On character units, you get lethal hits. Pretty okay. Champions Guidance. Usable in your shooting phase or any fight phase. On a character unit, you get hit rerolls. Actually, that's really good if you're trying to... no, it doesn't matter. I was like, if you're trying to get your Oath of Moment off, that'll be good to buff that unit. It doesn't matter. They have Oath of Moment on them. You're going to reroll the hit roll anyway. So that's just a strat, I guess. I mean, reroll hits is fine. You're never upset about it. Although you have a called shot reroll, so like, I don't know. Do you need that? It's meh. Birth of a Saga, usable in your command phase on a head taker or Terminator pack leader model. Okay. One of the few times where unit champions actually are mechanically important. Interesting stuff. Also, why is Inspiring Presence not buffing leadership? Yeah, that's weird. You never think about lethal hits being an effect of being inspired. Like, very strange. That's usually either like some sort of precision, like anatomical precision kind of thing. But, Birth of a Saga is You gain character on a head taker or wolf guard terminator pack leader until the start of your next command phase. That's such a fun ability. So you benefit from the called shot reroll regardless of whether or not the saga is off, and you can complete sagas, which is actually kind of sweet. The downside is that you give up assassination when you die. I here's what I think. I think this should have been I think that this should have been usable like in a phase that then lasts until the end of the turn. Or the start of the next turn or something. Because then you could like selectively use it to complete sagas. Which would actually could be kind of neat. It's weird that it's locked to command phase. And then lasts for like a whole round. But maybe that was like that's too strong or something. But like it seems like you just get a bunch of downsides to your character, to your unit. But like the only upside is that you get a couple rerolls. But they're not rerolls that are used proactively, so you don't know if you need them. So like, I don't know. That's a weird one. Alpha Strike gives you advance and charge to character unit. Phenomenal. What a great strat. You'd love to see it. Let's go. Heroic Resolve, +1 or -1 damage on a character unit. For 2 CP, it is shooting phase only, which is a little bit sad, and it's Space Wolf character only. So it's like probably okay on Terminators, maybe okay on if you're like being blasted by 2 damage shots on a big unit of Grey Hunters or something, like maybe it's fine. I wonder if there's a universe where you rock like a 20 mana Blood Claws and just like dump strats on them. Probably not, but maybe. Counter charge is also the really important one. End of your opponent's charge phase. If you're within 6 inches of an enemy unit and would be eligible to declare a charge against those enemies, you can declare the charge. So as long as at the end of your opponent's charge phase, you're within 6 inches of literally anyone, doesn't matter if they have charged or not, you can intervene into them essentially. With an Adeptus Astartes character, so important to note, it does not require Space Wolf characters. What are the like the selections here? It's so weird. So Alpha Strike is any Astartes character. Reroll hits is Space Wolves only. Like why? Lethal hits, any Astartes character. Reroll hits, only Space Wolves. Like what's too strong? I want to know. Was it like Desolators, like indirect firing people, or like Hellblaster bricks or something? I'm so interested in like what the combo was they're trying to like narrow in on. Who knows, dude? Countercharge with an assault intercessor unit hiding in a building. Yeah, if you have a character in it, sure. Pretty good. All right. Saga of the Beastslayer is the next one. Let's go. So many of them are worded Space Wolves units, so they don't work on Space Marine. Yeah. That's why it's like a weird distinction. All right, Saga of the Beasts, the Beast's Lair, I think is how it's meant to be pronounced. You gain each time an Adeptus Astartes model from your army makes an attack, any attack. If you target a character, monster, or vehicle, you gain lethal hits. Sick. You have to have completed the saga, which might be tough. So at the start of the first battle round, your Beast Slayer tally is 0. You determine your Beast Slayer target by halving the number of units from your opponent's army that have character, monster, or vehicle keywords. Each time an adeptus Astartes unit from your army shoots or fights, after all those attacks have been resolved, and 1 your Beastslayer tally for each enemy unit with 1 or more of the following keywords destroyed by the attacks. Once your tally is equal to or greater than your target, your saga is completed. All right, problems I'm noticing. First off, there are no benefits for the detachment ability. Oh, no, excuse me. All right. So you gain lethal hits targeting character, monsters, or vehicles. If your saga is completed, you gain lethal hits against everything. I misread the detachment ability. So that's actually okay. That's fine. Lethal hits is probably the least exciting keyword to be getting there, but it's not bad. You're never upset about getting lethal hits. Unless you're like reroll devastating ones or something. Like Gladiator Reapers are actually like really unplayable in this detachment because they like randomly shoot themselves out of being devastating. But that's okay. That's fine. We'll take that. Yeah, okay. So that's actually great. If the attack targets a character, monster, vehicle unit, or if the saga has been completed, you gain lethal hits. Love it. I loved it. Oh, you love it. All right. That's a good detachment ability. Also, it affects literally everything and literally any attack you make. Every Adeptus Astartes model from your army, anytime they make an attack, doesn't matter if it's melee, doesn't matter if it's ranged, only matters about the saga or the keywords of the target. And given the fact that lethal hits is the most useful against characters, monsters, or vehicles, those are the times then you want it. So it's cool. The only weird thing is when you like accidentally fight demon chariots and they like don't get affected, but that's okay. Love it. All right, let's talk about enhancements. Wolf Touch is the first one, Space Wolves only. You get +2 move, and you can be attached to Wulfen or Storm Shield Wulfen. I wonder if that's going to be great. We can put this on Wolf Priests or Battle Leaders. And either one of those get like either +1 to wound and regenerate or sustained hits and reroll 1s. So those are all good. And it gets +2 movement. You love it. That's actually great. Yeah. All right. Seems good. I'm in. Yeah. Also, you just build in the OC value as well. Sick. All right. Hunter's Guile is the next one. Redeploy up to 3 Thunderwolf Cavalry, Wulfen, and or Bloodclaw units. All right. That's fine, I guess. It's not exciting stuff, so whatever. It goes on any character, though. Elders Guidance. Once per battle, start of the fight phase, if the bearer is leading a Bloodclaws unit, you can use the enhancements. If you do, until the end of the phase, improve armor penetration characteristics of melee weapons equipped by models in that unit by 1. It's just a good bonus. I don't know. Yeah. Okay. Sweet. +1 AP. AP 2 chainswords. Let's go, dude. Helm of the Beastslayer is the next one. Each time an attack made by a character, monster, or vehicle model targets the bearer's unit, reduce the armor penetration characteristic of that attack by 1. On any guy. Ooh. Oh, that's really good. So that can go on anything. What's the coolest place for that to be? Is it like apothecaries in like eradicator squads? So like you bounce, you start bouncing predator shots, like destructor shots. What about heavy intercessors, chat? Are heavy intercessors good? Like Terminators. That's cool. That's a really cool enhancement. That's actually probably incredible. Character, monster, vehicle is like 90% of the hard hitting stuff in the game. So just reducing their AP passively is huge, especially because, as we've noticed, there's no Armor of Contempt in these detachments. So that's the only access that we get to Armor of Contempt at all in this entire supplement. Now, it is, in fairness, it is a Space Marine army, and you can just play compliant detachments. So it's not like the other ones where it's not like these are the only detachments we can play. So worst case scenario, we can just play Gladius Task Force and call it a day. But if we don't, we get these cool stuff. So that's sweet. Centurions need a leader. Heavy intercessors mentioned, yeah. Makes small arms fire useless. Well, yeah, just keep in mind that the small arms fire that becomes useless has to be from character, monster, or vehicle units. So, like, a lot of times, if you're just being shot by like random squads of dudes, it won't affect you. But if you're being like drilled into by a predator or something, suddenly you're gonna take significantly less casualties from that. Given that there's like probably gonna be this like predominance of like fetid bloat drone, like, you know, hull spam lists from new codexes. This is actually probably really good. This is one of the cooler enhancements that I've seen in a while. All right. Strats. Let's talk strats. Unbridled Ferocity is the first one. Usable in the fight phase on a Space Wolf unit. You get +1 to wound. Twist my arm, why don't you? Okay. Shock Cavalry. Usable in movement phase or charge phase. You can move Thunderwolf Cavalry through models and sections of terrain features 4 inches or less in height. Oh. That's of questionable usefulness. Moving Thunderwolf Cavalry through models is like, there's no way that's going to be useful. Because they're so fucking big. Moving them through terrain features 4 inches or less in height, I think on US Open does literally nothing. It depends on your terrain format. That's not a good ability. Just let them move through fucking walls, dude. I know that you want the fantasy where they jump over because it's a big dog, but just let them go through a fucking wall, man. Oh, God. All right. Well, whatever. I don't know why they did this with Emperor's Children, too, where they have like a lot of like you can move through models and stuff. And it's so not useful. It's crazy. It's crazy how not useful that ability is. In fact, in 10th edition, because the charge and combat rules are so fucked, it is often a detriment because it allows you to get more models into base contact, which is a downside. So, yuck. All right, well, whatever. We can play a strat now. It's okay. Pinning fire, usable in your shooting phase on an adapted Astartes unit. So anything until the end of the phase after you have shot, you select a character, monster, or vehicle unit hit. It gets pinned, -2 to move characteristics and -2 to charge. Good if they have like really aggressive characters and stuff. And it also just requires you to hit them with one thing. So you can like flip a Stormbolter at them and then be like, take that. Now you're -2 charge. And that's fine. It's not great because it's a very defensive ability, but it's not bad. Thunderous Pursuit is the next one. It is a reactive move on a Astartes unit that is within 9 inches of an enemy unit, not within engagement range of 1 or more enemy units after it ends a normal, advance, or fall back move. You can move up to D6 inches. If you are Space Wolf's infantry or you are Thunderwolf Cavalry, you get a 6-inch move instead. Great. 1 CP reactive move, done. Especially because reactive moves just got hugely buffed in the last update by determining that they are not surge moves, which is huge. So you can stack this with other reactive effects, which is enormous. So that's a great strat. Impetuosity is the next one. Usable in your opponent's shooting phase after an enemy unit has selected its targets. 1 Wulfen infantry or Bloodclaw unit from your army that was selected as the target. At the end of the phase, after that unit has shot, if one or more models were in your unit were destroyed, you can Blood Surge move. Roll a D6. Move up to the number of inches. Your unit must stand closest to the closest enemy unit, blah, 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 blah. It's a Blood Surge for Wulfen or Blood Claws. Seems like the Wulfen might be a little small, so I feel like most of the time they'll just be dead, but might be good. It's not a bad thing to have, especially because your opponent has to play around it the whole game. So definitely not upset about that strat. And also, you can like do weird stuff where you can like set it up with reactive moves and then be like, I'm next to you. Are you going to shoot me? And they're like, no, because you'll engage me. And you're like, damn straight, I will. Coordinated strike. One Space Wolf unit from your army wholly within 9 inches of a battlefield edge. You can remove it from battlefield and place it into strategic reserves. Whatever. It's Space Wolf units only. Wholly within 9. When is this going to come into play? I wonder. It's good if Space Wolves had like good baseline utility units, but their utility units are all going to be Astartes keyworded, not Space Wolves keyworded. I guess like Fenrisian wolves, maybe? I don't know. Anyway. I'm a little sad about the level of threat projection that this detachment has, but also I think it's just going to be good it's going to be good with like big punchy guys too. Because you get lethal hits on your guns. Although compared to Saga of the Bold, it does feel like kind of significantly less exciting. So I don't know. Maybe it's fine. Feels like loss of Skyclaws is a huge ding. Yeah, potentially. Just because they aren't affected by Space Wolf like synergies. Yeah, it's gonna be weird having JPIs, which are gonna be so strong in these detachments, but also have no synergy internally with like any of their mechanics. So like the Saga of the Hunter not being triggerable by Blood Claw or by I'm doing it now by jump pack intercessors like blows my fucking mind. Like our jump pack guys are not hunting the enemy. What are they doing? Like jump pack and mounted guys? Like, okay. I don't know. It's very weird. Of these, Saga of the Bold feels really good. Because it feels like that's an eminently completable saga and has like a bunch of cool effects with it. And then the bonus is really huge, right? Like called shot rerolls are big. Plus you have an advance in charge on the stick if you need to. Saga of the Beastslayer feels okay. Hunter, I don't know. Hunter feels not great. But it does feel weird being in like one of these relatively slower detachments. And I don't know, we could just be playing Gladius Task Force and affect everything with all of our stuff and not have to worry about all these weird internal like anti-synergies. I have no idea. Champions of Rust feels as twice as good as Elise's. Yeah. Champions of Rust is really very good. Yeah. But I mean, yeah. Worst case scenario, you just play a Codex detachment. I don't know. I understand that it's not as exciting, but it is what it is. I imagine like this is what sort of wound in the fight phase is good. But like you just play Lance. Lethal hits is like sort of whatever. Yeah, I don't know. The enhancements are okay. But I feel like you're on this detachment if you're on any of them. You get hit rerolls on a stick, you get advanced charge on a stick. And then like the -1 damage is cool, and then the detachment ability is really powerful, so I don't know. That feels like what, and I feel like Space Force are going to be a character focused sub faction anyway. So I feel like a lot of your units are going to be characters. Or you can play Gladius Task Force because it's like the best attachment in 40k. Worst case scenario, just do that. That's fine. When is Germany going to ban Gladius Task Force? The problem is the Gladius Task Force has already been released, so Germany isn't allowed to ban it. If Gladius Task Force hadn't been released yet, it would be on the chopping block. Get out of here. That's a funny question. That's a good one. All right, chat. Before we dive into data sheets real quick, I'm going to take a super duper quick break. I'm going to be gone for about 30 seconds. So I just got to go get my water bottle. I'll be back momentarily. I'm gonna give you a very quick little thing here, and then I'll be back. I'll go back to the pre-stream. Sure, whatever. We'll give you some music for a sec. All right, one moment, everybody. All right, chat. We ready to talk about datasheets? Let's do it. Seeing huge potential in all these detachments. Flavor over optimization. I think that there's a happy medium between the two. The problem is that 10th edition has moved off of... They've moved so far away from being able to flavor things and to be optimal that I don't know. The number of times that they do these cool flavor win mechanics feels like less and less, but maybe I'm just jaded. No idea. Felt the same about Champions of Rust at first. Well, also Champions of Rust on release was super trash, right? It was unplayably bad. They had to totally rewrite the detachment ability for it to be in its final form. The current incarnation of Champions of Rust that we've been playing up to this point is wildly rewritten from the original version. The original version was very bad. The detachments look semi-competitive and look fun. Yeah, I think they definitely look interesting, or some of them do. All right. Why don't Astartes units gain the Space Wolf keyword? Because they don't. I don't know. They don't have it on their data sheet. So that would be why. Is the answer. And there's nothing in the Codex that gives them the keyword, so they just don't have it. It's not space. It's like not being a character unit, right? Yeah, or not being a character model or something. You know what I mean? They just don't have the keyword. If they don't have it, they don't have it. All right, Logan Grimnar. Let's talk about him. I like that he deep strikes with his dogs. The dogs teleport in. In the Space Marine rules, the main Codex does what? Grant them the keyword? It does not. No, that's wrong. So we talked about his top line profile when his datasheet was originally revealed, as well as this ability. He's move 6, which is kind of neat, actually. He's 1 speed higher than most Terminators, which is kind of nice. Although, I guess, here's a question. Are other Terminators move 6 in this army? Oh, they are. Ooh, move 6 Terminators, chat? That's a spicy meatball. That's actually very good if you're doing rapid ingress plays. Makes you basically, instead of requiring essentially a 4 or 5 inch charge, you're probably in for a 3 inch charge, which is really nice. That's just a nice quality of life thing to have. So here we go. Knowing that they tend to go for fun or narrative focused stuff, like Space Wolves versus straight up powerful, like they do for Emperor's Children Death Guard. Yeah, I do agree that Death Guard are really straightforward and kind of boring. But also, that's kind of how Death Guard are. But Emperor's Children, I do think, if we want to talk about rules that fit the theme, Coterie of the Conceited is on point, right? It's kind of random that it ended up being the strongest thing in the Emperor's Children Codex. But come on. You literally make a pact with Slaanesh every round. That's cool. With a huge downside if you don't do it. That's cool, man. I don't know. that one's pretty sweet. So Logan, he's got a regular Stormbolter. I wish he got a relic Stormbolter. I think for a hot minute he did, but it's always weird that these hyper powerful Terminator characters always get a regular gun, which has always felt a little bit strange to me. I don't know. He's either 6 attacks, 8, 2, 3 on his strike profile, 10 at 6, 2, 1. Did he always sweep at AP 2? I feel like that is a lot, but maybe I'm wrong. He did. Well, what a boss! Look at you go, Logan Grimnar. That is neat. Move 6 Terminators that can't take an enhancement. Oh, because they don't have a Terminator character? Oh, no. Yeah. None of the characters got the keyword. Got the ability. Yeah. Oh, that's really bad. I sometimes I get upset with like GW has this predilection, and they're slowly starting to move away from it. Like we did, like the Lord Cacophonist, for example, in Emperor's Children, who's like a Terminator dude, but he can go into little units, which I liked. But they have this predilection towards like units with the same armor type are only allowed to join the guys with that armor on. And you're like, why? Why can't I just have a power armor guy be telling my Terminators what to do? Like, it doesn't really make sense. And it's very arbitrary. But they stick with it. Yeah, that's actually horrible. But you can put the anti-shooting enhancement on anything. So it does. You just take it on other Terminators, right? You don't have to take it on Space Wolf Terminators. Isn't so bad. So it's just that you don't get like Saga of the Bold stuff with them, I guess, unless you have Logan inside it. But either way, I don't know. It's not it's not like Terminators have been a particularly playable unit archetype in the last like 2 editions of 40k. So unless you're a Dark Angel, and then they're really good. Everyone just needs to steal Dark Angel's combat doctrines so they can have good Terminators. Just I don't know, learn the ways of the Inner Circle and suddenly become good at wearing Terminator armor. Logan Grimnar, you gotta learn some stuff, my guy. Yeah, it definitely feels like a miss for sure. Man, like the keyword stuff, yeah, it feels bad, dude. There's like so much interesting in this codex, but it is like a huge feel bad. I don't know. His wolves hit on 2s, which is nice. He has an extra 6 straight 5 AP1 attacks. So the dude sweeps infantry like there's no tomorrow. Or excuse me, yeah, 6 straight 5. So he's 16 1 damage melee attacks. So this man will kill the fuck out of like guardsmen literally all day. He will kill all 10 guardsmen in a unit all by himself. What a boss. Once per battle round in your movement phase, you can select 1 enemy Space Wolves unit in that is in strategic reserves. So Space Wolf specific, not Astartes. If you do until the end of the phase for the purpose of setting that unit up on the battlefield tree, the current battle round is being 1 higher than it actually is. Strategic reserves only, which is funny. But it shouldn't make a huge difference. So that's also, you can do that anywhere, right? So you can bring in like Deep Strikers under a turn early. That's a very strong ability, and I think Logan's going to be great. He also has a CP tax aura. He's probably playable by himself as well. He could also just like put himself in reserve and then deep strike himself a turn early. And then he enables deployment zone strategic reserves from round 2 onwards, which is very powerful. The problem is that like it's really good if you have like random utility stuff you can do with those units, but none of the Space Wolf stuff is good utility. I guess besides Fenrisian wolves. So if you get like a behind enemy lines early, you can on turn 2, you can maybe like enable that, but it's kind of hard to plan for. But I don't know. You can use his ability while he's off the battlefield. It doesn't require him to be on the battlefield. It is a downgrade from his old ability. His old one was army-wide reroll hits in melee and reroll charge rolls. It was extremely powerful. It was almost certainly way too strong. Evidenced by the fact that he kept having to get his points cost increased, and he was in every single Space Wolf list ever. You can put him into transports. He takes up the space of 4 infantry models, which is a lot. Because he has 2 wolves with him. Yeah, can you upgrade for his own ability? Yeah, probably not. Njall Stormcaller is phenomenal. This guy, we talked about this guy. Well, he's leading a unit. Ranged weapons get assault, and when they advance, they go auto 6. That's insane. What a leadership ability. Holy shit. In your shooting phase, after this model's unit has shot, you select an enemy unit hit. By one or more of those attacks made by one of the more of the attacks made by Njall's Living Lightning, which is D6 shots sustained to. Oh, good. The casino gun. Does it hit 12 times or is it 1 time? Or maybe 0 times. Nobody knows. Also not a very good profile. All right. Well, I guess you're just shooting it to do this thing. Until the start of your next turn, the enemy unit is storm wrecked. Unit is storm wrecked. Subtract 6 inches from the range characteristics of range weapons equipped by models in that unit to a minimum of 12 inches. That's good if they have like range specific effects. Like if you hit a predator with it and suddenly its rapid fire decreases in range, it's actually kind of interesting. For the most part, you kind of forget that has that probably. Strength 7, AP 1. Like sustain 2 is cool, but you have no idea if you're gonna hit it. It's base ballistic skill 3, so you could just like roll one shot and miss, and then not get your storm racked ability off. Which is weird. I guess like I don't know. You take this guy to make your unit really fast. He's not even that good at melee. There's no dual attaching, right? Can we put this guy with a character who's actually good? These are head takers. Where's the battle leader? Give me battle leader. No. No. There's no dual attaching. Well, I like this ability. I don't know where you use it though. Because like you're like, hey, I get to deliver my dudes. And your opponent's like, okay. Cool. Are they powerful? And you're like, no, not really. Like I guess they're just like Grey Hunters that just deliver OC to your opponent. Is that worth an extra like random little character? I don't know. Probably not. Extra 100-point character. Welcome to the casino. Yeah. He feels like the old. He's like the old. The Index Thousand Sun Terminator, or the Thousand Sun Sorcerer, where he's like 2d6 sustain 3. You're like, how many shots am I gonna hit? I don't know. It could be literally 40, or it could be 0. Let's find out. Let's find out together. What a bad mechanic. It's very stupid. You were supposed to give that guy hit rerolls, is the idea, but you never had time to do that because Magnus was so unbelievably powerful. Let's move off of Njall. I am not feeling Njall. I think Auto 6 Advance is a very strong ability. Like his leadership ability is phenomenal, but everything else on his data sheet is so mid. And so you're like delivering a unit, but you need the unit to do something. And it feels like you might as well be delivering a unit that has good abilities otherwise. Like, I don't know. If we're paying points for this guy, maybe he's really cheap and that's fine. He won't be though. He'll be like 80, 90 points. Ulrik the Slayer. I love it. So he's kept his previous profile, which is 4 wounds, 6 on field on pain, which is like the funniest. It's so funny to me because that 6+ field on pain is doing no legwork. that has, I think, one single time required a second activation to kill Ulrik the Slayer in like the history of the universe. It's so rarely relevant. It's hilarious. Like give him a 5+ field on pain at least. Like the 6+ field on pain just makes me laugh. It's like 90% of the time, two damage conversions are just gonna kill him anyway because he's not gonna roll any field on pains. Otherwise, if you're hitting him with 3 damage conversions, it's gonna take the same number of attacks. And if you're hitting him with 1 damage, it might take 1 extra hit to kill him. Okay, just give the idiot 5 wounds and call it a day. That's that's going to be like significantly more relevant. That 6+ field on pain is like so funny. It's not bad. It's not like you're upset that you have it, but it just makes me laugh really hard. No healing bombs because he's the Slayer. He's not the healer. He's here to do murders. But I think that's okay. Having a different leadership ability is all right. So at the start of the battlefield, you select 1 keyword to be his model, his Slayer Oath. The first time his unit destroys a model with the Slayer's Oath keyword, if your detachment rule has a saga until the end of the battle, the model's unit receives the benefits of that detachment rule as if the saga had been completed. That's a cool ability, but whatever. That's like kind of a lot of nothing, I think. Like you get, I don't know, you get called shot reroll sometimes. You could get +1 to hit and wound, I guess. Maybe if he's in like a huge blood claw brick or something. +1 to hit and wound would be nice. But it's the second time you attack with them, so I don't know. You're already like whatever. I don't know. That's cute. The big thing is while he's leading a unit, each time you make a melee attack, you get +1 to hit. If the attack targets a unit that has this model's Slayer as Oath keyword, which is pretty likely, I imagine, you get +1 to wound as well. Phenomenal. That's pretty strong. Plus, he's got an anti-monster, anti-vehicle, melee weapon. Pretty good. Just not bad. Definitely not quite as good as full hit and wound rerolls. But that was probably... that was, I think, artificially depressing the strength of Space Wolf Datasheets, because that guy, as soon as you make like Grey Hunters or Blood Claws like super powerful, Ulrik the Slayer's like, let's go, boys. They kill like God. So I think it's okay that his ability is like a little bit more situational. But +1 to hit and wound is +1 to hit at a baseline is fine. +1 to hit and wound, which is probably what you're going to be triggering, is good. It's just good, right? It also means that like you actually super don't need him to complete the oath if you're playing Saga of the Hunter, because he just gets it anyway. He gets literally the detached ability as a baked-in leadership ability. Great. I'm glad we wrote a whole paragraph of rules for this ability. That's super funny. What's funny is that Ulrik is still firstborn, so he can join Primaris units. Is still firstborn, so he can join Primaris. I don't know what that means, but good stuff. Bjorn the Fell-Handed. So he has lost his half damage, it looks like. Somebody was telling me that he kept it, which is like gonna be fucking wild, dude. So, no way. There's no way.
Ryan G donated $5 through Super Chat. With all the damage 3 going around, do you think Tyrannid melee warriors and Gene Stellars should get damage too? Granted it's Tyrannids, so...
Brother, if Gene Stellars and melee warriors got 2 damage weapons, I'd be playing fucking Vanguard Spirit or Vanguard Onslaught. That'd be so sick, bro! A Tyranid unit that actually attacks an enemy and it dies sometimes? Are you kidding me? Yeah, that would be rad. That'd be incredible. They will never do that. Like you said, it's Tyranids. So they would never do that. So it is what it is. Bjorn's the Fell-Handed. So he's if an attack targets him, if the strength of the attack is greater than his toughness, so most anti-tank weapons, you get -1 to be wounded. Pretty good ability. He also is smoke, so you can -1 to hit and wound him, which is actually kind of neat. You get 1 CP every start of your command phase. You can give him a multi-melta or a Hellfrost cannon. So he's either 1 strength 10 AP3 5 damage shot or 2 melta shots, which is already good. Plus his lethal hit melee attack, which looks like it hasn't changed at all. My hope is that this guy gets a little cheaper and then becomes like more of a support piece, which does make more sense for Bjorn, right? Bjorn is like a late game like anchor that gives you CP in the early game. Feels phenomenal. And if you can unlock things like floating rerolls or called shot rerolls for this guy, I think that's just great. Bjorn seems totally good. If he comes in at like, maybe that's too strong, but maybe if he comes in at like the 150-ish point range, I think he's gonna be great. I think he's like 200 right now or 180 or something, right? Yeah, but if you are cutting his like literal the impossibility of killing him, yeah, he's 190 currently. He's basically impossible to destroy in the current incarnation. if you cut that, you can cut him significantly in cost, and then he's like a very efficient support piece, and I think that's phenomenal. I think that he will be good if that's the case. Why do they insist on including assault cannons? Because they it's on the model. Yeah, that's it. That's the reason. I do think that like the baseline assault cannon should like definitely needs a statistical improvement. There's like when you're talking like twin assault cannons in some of the specialist versions, you definitely need you can maybe like take it with a grain of salt, but the baseline one dude assault cannon should shoot like 12 times or something. Like it's so fun. It's like super trash right now. His ult ability was half damage, yeah. Yeah, it was it was nuts. He also didn't have an invulnerable save, I don't believe. So he didn't get purely easier to kill. He is still difficult to kill. He's definitely not as powerful as he was. But I think that's good if he just becomes this like support guy. 180 of Codex points, right? Yeah. I would not pay attention to Codex points because those are certainly going to change. I would hope for a little bit less than 180, but that's maybe fine. The comparison is between this guy and Marnia's Calgar. They're like almost the same. And Marnia's Calgar is like much stronger, right? He has like a stronger melee profile. He has more wounds at like a the defensive comparison is not dissimilar. So Bjorn should be significantly cheaper than that guy. Plus he doesn't advance in charge or whatever. Ragnar Blackmane is a dude. Gain of movement, T4, 3+, 4+, 5 wounds, up to move 7, like all the other infantry in the Codex. While he's leading a Blood Claw unit, each of a model in that unit makes a melee attack. You reroll the wound roll. If he's leading a Head Taker's unit, you're able to advance and charge. So he doesn't advance and charge attached to anything. I guess he also can't attach to Grey Hunters, which is kind of interesting. I wonder why. This guy on a Head Taker's unit feels great, though. You can still take him in the capacity where he's like a little nuke you can put into an impulsor. Inside Blood Claws feels maybe a little bit more situational, but I'm not sure. And then he still gains his +2 attacks when he charges. So he goes to 10 attacks, sustained hits, strength 6, AP 3, 2 damage. So the same profile. He doesn't go into Assault Intercessors anymore, which is sad. Because getting him into 5 model units feels like the kind of the truth in the way, but I don't know. Or less +2 strength. Oh, that's true. That is important. Yeah, actually. Strength 6 to strength 8 cutoff is huge. So he actually did get less powerful. Yeah. I forgot about that. That's a good call, chat. I missed it. Yeah. I mean, he's still probably one of the better leaders for any of these units, right? It is just unfortunate that he's a little bit weaker. Arjac. We talked about this fucking guy. He seems phenomenal. Go figure that the new guy would be really good. Right? Oh, we got a new model for Arjac. Let's super torque Arjac. Full rerolls against characters. Anti-monster, anti-vehicle 3 precision on his melee weapon. While he's leading a unit, you get a 4+ fight on death. You don't even have to lead units though. You can just like play this guy as a dude. His leadership ability is whatever, right? But yeah, full rerolls against characters, anti-monster, anti-vehicle 3, for 3 damage melee attack is by itself good. If he is sub 100 points, I think there's a argument that you could just play him as a guy, right? You don't even need to like bring him in with like a whole unit because he doesn't really support the unit. The unit supports him theoretically, but like just getting him in to go punch people is sick. Wouldn't the whole game on 3s or full reroll? Okay, sure, why not? He ate the corpse of Iron Hand's Dragon. learned how to be anti-monster. Wolf priests we talked about because they were spoiled by Warhammer Community. Only 4 wounds on these guys. Their tactic is keyworded 4 wound characters. I guess that's not out of the realm, not super weird. Like lieutenants are like that, right? But it does feel a little light. I don't know. Maybe I'm just pushing for characters to be better. I guess I haven't looked at like vanilla Space Marine characters in a really long time, and they feel really weak. But I don't know. He gives +1 to wound to his unit. Phenomenal. You love it. And he returns bodyguards to the unit. Pretty good. He doesn't have any mechanical use for his tiny cool knife. I thought he would have his tiny cool knife be a war gear option, but he just has a pistol. That's lame. I thought he would have like a little anti-psyker attack. Boop. I booped the psyker. Booped him. Take 3 mortal wounds. Got him. I'm wrong about the faction keyword. If you make me read this again and I'm not wrong about the faction keyword, I'm going to be upset. The designer's note. Designer's note is not rules, chat. What are we talking about? Is it that the Adeptus Astartes units from your army are from the Space Wolves chapter? Then they would gain the Space Wolves keyword if they wanted them to work mechanically like that. Being from the chapter and having the chapter keyword are not necessarily synonymous. That would be included in the rule. I don't care about the designer's note. Let's move on. We talked about this guy. Iron Priest, I think, is the last data sheet. No, we have to all of the infantry, of course. We've gone through like the 10 characters in this faction. We still have Murderfang to go through too. So Iron Priest feels really good. He's got his little Hellfrost pistol, either a 3 damage gunshot or a torrent. What a phenomenal gun. Give that to like the rest of your units. Jesus. what the fuck? That gun rules. He doesn't have his cool bolter. But that's okay, I guess. He does have a Tempest Hammer. It's interesting they include the servo arm attack with the hammer attack. So he doesn't have like an axe attack plus an extra. He just has 4 strength 8, AP 2, 3 damage attacks. Downside is that he doesn't have any. He's only weapon skill 4. But that's not the end of the world, I think. You can like you're oathing people and stuff. He can be attached to Bloodclaw's Grey Hunter's Wolf Guards. Does that matter? Not really. Yeah, not really. He actually doesn't have a leadership ability, so it just makes him slightly harder to kill. So while he's within 3 inches of a Astartes vehicle unit, he's lone operative. He's because he's a tech marine. He can tech marine stuff to gain rapid fire instead of +1 to hit. So that's cool. Yeah, rapid fire has a ton of implications. So yeah, I don't know. The one that people have been talking about is like, yeah, big punchy units inside impulsors that then shoot out. So they grant the impulsor all of their weapons. So like they're super crack missile launchers that then gain rapid fire. So within 24 inches, they double shoot. So a single impulsor is shooting 10 rocket shots plus whatever's on its top. With rapid fire 1. The funny thing is that if you already have rapid fire, this has no synergy because they don't stack. But if you're shooting, the other kind of stuff that we talked about are like Gladiator Lancers getting an additional shot with their Lancer attack, especially if you're in like Saga of the Bold or Ironstorm Spearhead and you're getting floating rerolls elsewhere in addition to their own. They become like super efficient. Repulsor Executioners is like wild because they have so many attacks. So you can let's look at its gun profile here. So you can gain +1 attack on the Annihilator's good too, because you rapid fire all of the las cannons. But like you get 1, this one doesn't count, 2, 3, 4, 5 extra attacks in total. And one of them is a heavy laser destroyer, which is like the highest value. Annihilator's great. What else is good? You can do it on like Redemptor Dreadnoughts, probably is like pretty good. Ballistus Dreadnoughts, I think, is probably strong because they have like 2 re-rolling 48-inch range guns. So that basically that's like a 40% increase in offensive output. Yeah. So the important thing to note though is that you aren't getting +1 to hit. So it's not a strict upgrade from my regular Tech Priest. It's just better if you have multiple high impact weapons, right? And if you're targeting your oath target, which, if I'm being honest, I think is really neat. I think it's cool that this is a guy's like mechanically different than the regular Tech Marine. Like he buffs vehicles, but in a slightly different way. His prayers to the Omnissiah are slightly like worded slightly differently, and so they do a similar thing, but in a slightly different way, which is really cool. We talked about this with World Eaters, like that was mechanically really interesting. How their vehicles are more aggressive, and that it seems like it would stand to reason for Space Wolves to work the same way, which is kind of neat. On a Thunderhawk. Yeah, I bet there's some like what happens if you astray us up? Like fucking because those things have a million like las talons or whatever, right? You get +1 on what are the options? You can have 2 las rippers, a twin las cannon, and then its accelerators. So your las cannons can shoot 3 times instead of 2. Your twin las cannon can shoot 2 times instead of 3, or instead of 1, and your accelerators shoot 10 times or 13 times. Excuse me. Let's go. If only we had like fire raptors back, right? Oh, they're not even in 39k because they had like 1 million guns. Thunderhawk gets +1 missile shot, +1 turbo laser destructor shot. And then how many heavy bolters does it have? 4 twin heavy bolters and 2 las cannons. So you get 2 las cannons, 4 additional heavy bolter attacks, and one Hellstrike missile. Oh yeah, it's if you take off the cluster bombs, which we'll do, sure. 1 Hellstrike missile, so 2 las cannons, 4 heavy bolters, 1 Hellstrike missile, 1 laser destroyer shot off of your Thunderhawk gunship. As long as the laser destroyer targets something within 48 inches. That's important to note. Incredibly cute. I love that. Yeah, the big benefit is that most of that rapid fire, especially on big guns, is always gonna come into play because you're getting it at such a range, right? As long as you're in rapid fire, as long as you rapid fire at 24 inches, in today's day and age, that's you're in 24 like 90% of the time you're shooting. I can count on one hand the times I have seen a Predator Destructor fail to trigger its rapid fire. And yeah, so you're likely in rapid fire range unless it's like the heavy bolters or like the little guns that are shooting like 12 to 36. Like sometimes those are out, but the big stuff is almost always in. Also, hilariously, somebody pointed out as well that you rapid fire your one-shot weapons too. So like you get 2 hunter killer missiles if you're targeting a firstborn tank, which is like super cute. Now, obviously, is this gonna like totally transform the metagame and make Space Wolves the greatest vehicle faction ever? No, I don't think so. Because it's already command phase timing, so you have to be in range at the start of your turn in order to trigger it, and it is, yeah, it's just difficult to access. But is it cool and interesting and unique, and maybe open up some interesting like specific builds? Yeah, I think so. So I love this. Plus, he's got a cool pistol. What's not to love? It's actually a sick pistol. It's really powerful. Kill a Terminator with that fucking thing. Let's go. Blam! Oh, sweet. Now your hunter killer can fail to wound twice instead of once. No. It will succeed to wound, but it will deal 1 damage, okay? I'm just telling you. Let's talk about Wolfguard battle leaders. We already know their ability because we've talked about that previously. It looks like they start with a storm shield and a power weapon. They can switch that for a master-crafted bolt carbine, which is a 2-shot, 2-damage bolter. That's fine. A master-crafted heavy bolt pistol. Why does this guy get all the fucking master-crafted weapons? Logan Grimnar, the Great Wolf, the High King of Fenris, is stuck with a regular storm bolter, but a Wolfguard battle leader gets master-crafted weapons. Why? That's wild. He also has 7 melee attacks. Is that normal? That's a lot. How many does like a Space Marine captain get before he finest hours? Does he get 7? Have we all been sleeping on master crafted power weapons? Answer is 6. He has more attacks than a Space Marine captain. Huh. I mean, if they wanted people to play mastercrafted power weapons, they should probably push them to 7 attacks because they, in the comparison to the Power Fist, they look really bad. But interesting. Logan doesn't need it. Yeah, Logan will be fine. So while he's leading a unit, you get sustained hits 1, and when you target an enemy within 6 inches with either melee or ranged, you get reroll hit rolls of 1. Great ability. We love to see it. He also has a 2+ fight on death, which is nice. That's never bad. You're never upset about getting that. Not super relevant, but it is good. He also has fucking 7 melee attacks, so that's amazing. He can replace his storm shield with a gun or his hammer or his sword with a hammer. But you'll probably just take the storm shield. Also, he has 5 wounds. Eat your heart out, all of the other characters we just talked about who have 4 wounds. Yeah, you probably take the shield just in case. Oh, also it gives him 6 wounds. What is this character? Wait, hold up. I was just making fun of Ulrik the Slayer. Is he Tactics keyword or is he a baby boy? All right, he a baby boy. But this fucking guy, he a Tacticus boy. He's got the keyword, and he's coming in at 4 wounds with 5 melee attacks. He spent too much time in the library reciting prayers and stuff. Like, he goes to church every Sunday instead of going to the gym. He should go to the gym because he learned to have 2 more wounds and 2 more attacks. This dude is like a god. His just like top line is so beefy. What the fuck? He has 6 wounds. What? Okay. Sure. I don't understand. Make all the characters look like this guy. They're awesome. He seems great. Is the Codex says he's 65 points? No fucking way, dude. You just windmill slam 3 of these into every Space Wolf army. It'd just be like, I don't know. What am I doing with them? Do it in action. Fuck it. Like, I don't care. I have these 6 wounds with 4+ invuln save and 7 melee attacks. Like, couldn't be bothered. Yeah, we'll see what the final points are. I imagine that guy's like 80. Talking about some infantry units now. We're finally graduated from the 100 million characters that we've been talking about. And we still haven't gotten a Murderfang. Why are there so many units in this codex? Blood Claws, move 7, advance and charge. Oh, that's why Ragnar gives them wound rerolls, because they have advance and charge baked in. Advance and charge, they're minimum 10 up to 20, but they have no weapon options. Oh no, they can have a power weapon. Okay. Which I guess you will just do. Although it requires that you roll your pack leader out separately. Oof. I think the big thing is points value for these guys. 10 models is a really tough nut to really tough cost to swallow, because it is. The points value is going to extrapolate throughout an entire unit, right? And you only get one unit champion in there too. So the enhanced attack you can't really duplicate very often. So my hope is that if these guys are relatively cheap, they're like 16 or 17 points. Suddenly, these dudes advancing and charging around the table is actually kind of annoying, because they're extremely good, like, objective swappers. Maybe that's a little expensive, I guess. But if they are too expensive, then you'll just never see them ever, because you might as well take other stuff. So I don't know. They're 135 in the Codex. We'll see. That could be cool. Grey Hunters. Each time they make an attack, full stop. Doesn't matter if it is ranged or melee. Reroll wound rolls of 1. If the target is in range of an objective marker, reroll the entire wound roll instead. You love to see it. That's a great ability. The pack leader can replace his carbine with a plasma pistol. The carbine shoots 3 times at 12 inches, so you might not do that, actually. And you can replace his chainsword with a power fist, which you will do. This is good. 10 models for these guys is a little bit tough, but OC3, dude. And I think if you're trying to... We talked about this when we were talking about Saga of the Bold. If you're trying to shoot something to death, it feels like the Grey Hunter is the way to do it. Because they are the Space Wolf leaderable unit outside of, like, Bjorn, right? Who's just a character with a multi-melta. Who have the most ranged output. So if you can combo them together with some damage output, like sustained hits from the Wolfguard battle leader, then these guys actually like get to start to get work done. Plus, they give that guy wound rerolls with his 1 million attacks. Again, comes down to points value, because the fucking 10 models, dude. If these were units of 5, I think you would just like see these, right? Like you would just play them. They're both good. Units of 10 makes it like, I don't know. They also means they don't go into transport, so they're move 7, but they're actually kind of slow because they only go into repulsors, which nobody wants to pring. So I don't know. OC3 though, that number's so big. Yeah, the OC3 is huge. Grey Hunter's at 190. Like, I want to say, like, the number is so large. I want to say that it's too much, but like, you get full access to wound rerolls and OC3 is like crazy. But the problem is delivery. I don't know. I think maybe you're supposed to maybe rapid ingress them out of strategic reserve or something. These guys want rhinos so bad. This just feels like the what if we had rhinos the faction. Like, it feels like it's literally missing a transport, you know? Like, there's supposed to be an enclosed impulsor variant that has a transport capacity of 12. And they just like forgot to make that kit. Like, I don't where is that? Like, we need that guy. The 10 unit composition is obnoxious. Because you're not even allowed to take less than 10, right? That's the minimum. It's not like Blood Claws where you can take up to 19 additional if you wanted to do like weird Land Raider play, which you probably don't, but even just in case. Like, I don't know. Are they supposed to go to the new drop pods? Is that the idea? Like, it's like, what the fuck? Do they have the Primaris keyword? Nothing has the Primaris keyword anymore. It's all about armor marks. So they have the Tacticus keyword, which disallows them to embark into firstborn transports. We had this whole discussion earlier because we were talking about salamanders. If you want to hear a huge discussion about armor keywords, watch the stream from this morning, because we talked at length about how very similarly silly they are about like caring about individual keywords on units. What's the likelihood they removed Space Wolf access to non-Space Wolf characters? 0. They just didn't do that. In 11th edition? Maybe, but I doubt it. Oh, thanks for the Twitch follow. I appreciate that. Head takers. Look at this cool hat. I don't know if I've seen this guy's hat before. That's a really cool helmet. Looks like a medieval helmet. I love it. So core composition for these guys. Oh, interesting. You have 3 head takers and up to 6 hunting wolves. So, you could, I guess, theoretically take 0 hunting wolves. I imagine that they are free. They're included in the points value of the unit. Once we see the final breakdown, but I have no idea. I didn't actually look at the points page, so I don't know. Blood claws are sculpted with firstborn armor but have Tacticus. Are they? No, they're Primaris guys. They just don't have the little flange on their knee pad, but they have all that is Tacticus armor. They are Primaris now. So there's 3 wound each. Those are sort of Blade Guard veteran equivalents, right? They can either take a Storm Shield and a 4 attack power weapon, so literally just Blade Guard veterans, or they can cut the Storm Shield and they get 6 attacks. They break into a separate Hunting Wolf squad, which is just OC 0, move 10. It doesn't seem like Hunting Wolves have like the Wulfen ability, so they can't get OC. So they're just... Oh no, they can. Just kidding. It's just right there. Well, the unit is within 6 inches of one or more friendly Space Wolf character models. If it's not battle shocked, Hunting Wolves get OC 1. Sweet. Let's go. At the start of the battle, you select 1 unit from your opponent's army to be this unit's quarry. Weapons equipped by head taker models in the unit have devastating wounds and precision. And then you get to select a new quarry. So that's what they get instead of the Blade Guard veteran stances. So instead of Blade Guard veterans, they're Space Wolf keyworded, first of all, which can be useful. You can take the Space Wolf characters. Who's the coolest? Like, maybe Ulrik, or like Ragnar gives advance in charge, but assuming you have access to that already. A Wolf Priest for +1 to wound on like 30 attacks or 36 attacks is like kind of neat. 6 attacks each at strength 5 AP 2 damage is like a lot. If they're not super expensive, you get a utility unit and then this unit that just like hits like a fucking truck. Could be neat. Could be sweet, honestly. Bet there's a sweet combo in here somewhere. It might just be like we play a Wolfguard battle leader for sustains, and then we just like give them honor the chapter, and then we go to town. We're like attacking. We're attacking 43 times with like reroll 1s baked in, sustained hits, lance, AP 3. Like it. Just play Gladius Task Force. This faction. These guys will kill the universe, and then they all die because they don't have an invuln save. But like whatever, it's fine. We've killed God. Yeah, I don't know. That seems cool. And to see theoretically, sometimes devastating wounds also. So it's just like murder you extra hard. It all comes down to points value, because if they are relatively inexpensive, then they'll be good. That just has like this heat, this like just absolute beat stick. Hunting hounds. While you're with we already talked about that. They get FC1 while they're next to a character model, which is great. You can get your so you get a 6 model utility unit, which is actually potentially the best unit size for a utility unit as well. So yeah, I don't know. That's gonna be good. A little bit awkwardly, the hunting wolves are like, it's weird that the hunting wolves and the head takers don't have like any synergy. You know what I mean? Like, why are the wolves here? I don't know. Because they're beasts, not infantry. So if you're attaching them to the unit and you can like take hits on them, So if you're on the table, you can assign damage to them, and that's cool, right? So if your opponent goes like, "Hey, I'm going to shoot a plasma cannon that's a heavy infantry sweeper," you just kill all the dogs, and then the dudes are there. But like weirdly, the wolves don't get the quarry ability. So that's really the only use for combining them. And then there's no incentive to like use them together. I feel like it's a miss, you know what I mean? Like it would be interesting if this ability triggered if like either the target was the quarry or if it was an engage range of hunting wolves or something. That would probably be too strong. But like, you know what I mean? It's like weird that there's like, why would I like the hunting wolves are just gonna go like establish locus and then be killed. Like that doesn't feel like a hunting wolf to me, but I don't know. Maybe I'm a crazy person. It's weird. Oh, you are forced to split them. Oh, you're right. So there isn't even an option to take them together. Why does that unit exist? Is it so the I'm it's like sending me like why? Why are you? What are you doing? I don't Someone tell me what the intention here was. Was it to make a cool unit and then like I don't know, we'll figure out what it does later? It's like there's so many interesting flanking things, like interesting like Ludo narratives you can construct with a unit that brings a dog, right? Like what if hunting wolves were advance in charge and gave head takers +2 to charge if you charge a unit that they're engaging? That's cool. So the dogs go find your prey. Now the head takers have a really long threat range, or something like that. It's like throwing me that they just are just they're strictly just a unit of guys. I know it's I I don't get it. I don't get it. This is stupid. I don't know. This unit seems good. Assuming that the hunting wolves don't artificially increase their points value by super a lot, having a 6-man utility unit is good. And then having dudes who attack 6 times is also good. So like I can't complain about the unit. It just feels so weird for what seems to be like such a thematic unit to have no thematic abilities whatsoever. I don't know. Maybe I'm a strange person. Yeah. You can take them without the wolves? Are they I guess I should actually look at the points value, huh? Because it'll probably be a mutation on what their points value is in the book. All right. Here's the points value picture. Oh, it's so small. It's a little baby. Yeah, you can just take them without hunting wolves. It's 40 points. It feels like you will just take the hunting wolves. How many points are Fenrisian wolves according to this? 40 points. So it's a Fenrisian wolf unit, but you get a free model. So like you'll just take them, but that's like all right. Like I guess so. Okay. Or don't. I don't know. Like they don't matter. Whatever. This is stupid. It's a good unit. It's bad design. I don't know. Like, I guess is the moral of the story. Yeah, it's super weird. 20 points for 3 wolves. Yeah, but to take the weird thing about this breakdown, assuming that this doesn't change, is that to take 3 wolves, you can only take 3 head takers. So you can't take 6 head takers and 3 wolves. If you have 3 head takers, 3 wolves is great. 20 points for a utility unit, phenomenal. People would literally murder other human beings to get access to that. But then you're only taking 3 head takers, which doesn't feel like that great of a unit. But maybe it's fine. I don't know. If you're just like it's 18 attacks, they will just like delete like 5 idiots or whatever. for 90 points. Wow, yeah, maybe that is the way to play them, actually. Like, you get 1 unit of 6 as just a big beat stick, and then you get 2 units of 3, and they just wander around. And they'll be like, oh, I'm going to go kill 5 intercessors. Here I go. Boop, 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 boop. Yeah, I don't know. I think this unit rules. I think from a optimization standpoint, this unit's really good. From a theme standpoint, it has failed utterly. I don't know. You could have 20 head takers and 20. You still play knights. Yeah, we know that, Wes. We are aware. Now you can take 6 X-Wolves. Yeah. Let's go. Woo. Thunderwolf Cavalry retained their +1 damage ability. They have their weapons have been improved. No longer do we have the Virgin heirloom weapon. Now we are equipped with Chad Wolfguard weapon. Base damage 2 gains +1 damage. Phenomenal. Plus they have a bit higher base movement. So they lost all their characters, so they have no access to enhancements. But their stats are way better. So, like, I don't know. This unit's probably awesome. You still play Stormlance, and then you can lance them, and they're AP 2-3 damage with like 1 million with 4 attacks each. Okay. They just don't have all of like the weird internal like synergies, so like you can shoot them and they just go away. Which does make Wolf Jail worse, but it also means that Wolf Jail can take other stuff. So like their output is better by themselves, and then they just have different units elsewhere, which is probably fine. 200 for 6. Yeah, we'll see. I mean, we'll see what ends up looking like at the end here. And they can have storm shields still, so 4+ symbol save. Nice. Or a bolt gun. Yeah, I like that they replaced their pistol with a shield. We can't have a pistol and a shield. That's not how humans work, apparently. Wolfguard Terminators. -1 to be wounded. Just if your strength is greater. It doesn't care if there's a character in the. That's great. All right, solid. Other than that, they are just Terminators, I guess. For any number of them can replace their Stormbolter with a shield. So they come stock with Power Weapon, Stormbolter. Any of them can replace Stormbolter with shield, or replace Stormbolter and Power Weapon with Assault Cannon and Fist. Oh, so they can't get they can't get Power Fists at all? Okay. The pack leader can take 2 Lightning Claws or a Great Axe, which is 3 damage devastating. That's okay. That's a solid profile. Or a Twin Linked Lightning Claw attack. Yeah, I don't know if I ever really wanted to. Like, these are just Assault Terminators now with like extra steps. They're move 6, I guess. Their output is a little bit of a side grade from Thunderhammers because they have an additional attack and a +1 weapon skill over a regular Thunderhammer profile. But does that matter? They're harder to kill, and they don't have the terrible Battle Shock ability, so like their ability is much better. So I don't know. Maybe I'll go out of my way and say that these guys are actually probably an upgrade from regular Assault Terminators. Or almost, I would say almost certainly an upgrade. They're a little bit faster and they're slightly harder to kill. And their weapon profile is like similar But we're not looking for similar when we're talking about Terminator units, because Terminator units like on a baseline are just like really not good. So I don't know. Are 5 guys with 20 attacks good? Probably not, because you're probably paying like you're probably paying twice what you would be for 3 head takers, which have the same number of attacks, just about. Which is like wild when you think about it, right? 5 of these dudes will have 19 attacks with one of them being 3 damage, or with three of them being 3 damage, versus 18 attacks for literally half the cost, and one movement higher. So you're paying entirely for resilience, but it's not like resilience that we can use to fortify like shooting attacks or anything. It's just like we're kind of a melee bulwark. Yeah, I don't know, man. You can still use generic enhancements with the Terminator, Ancient, or Chaplain. Oh yeah, in the comparison with the with Assault Terminators, yeah. And that's not even like particularly strong, right? Because like that works in situations where you're playing like Black Templars or something, but Wolfguard Terminators don't have access to that. Which is unfortunate. Like if there was a delivery mechanism for like Space Marine captains with like really cool effects, like that would be sweet, but you just don't have that. I don't want to. These guys don't feel. I think it feels like at the right points value, these guys could be good. Like -1, like a transhuman effect on a 4 wound Terminator profile with 4 base attacks, like feels like there's something there, right? And they're not like super slow; they're just normal speed. It does feel like they want a character really bad and they don't have it. Like Logan is an interesting conundrum here because he can attach the unit, but he has no utility with them whatsoever. Like there's no reason to attach him essentially because he has no effect. They don't need benefit from having a character. He doesn't benefit from attaching to the unit. The only thing you get from Arjac is fight on death, which like maybe you get on 5 dudes or something, which is like not the biggest thing ever. So like the characters don't even necessarily want to attach to this unit, which feels really strange. So like I don't know. This feels like a unit where you might take 5 mans. Just like all melee 5 mans if they were cheap, right? If I could get these guys for like 160 or something, is that too cheap? That's like 32 points a model. It's probably too cheap. Like 165 and like they just wander around and are like really annoying to kill. That's like maybe something. There's probably something there. I feel like there's something there. Can Logan lead with Arjac? No, nothing can double attach in this whole codex. So nothing can, no character. You can't dual attach any characters whatsoever. Only on your generic Space Marine stuff. 180 ATM? Interesting. Yeah. I don't know. There's something here. There's something here, but I think it comes down to points. Hopefully they recognize that like baseline, like basic bitch Terminators are not good enough on their own. And if these guys are cheap enough that you can just like run 15 of them and they just like wander around, it's actually probably annoying enough that they'll see play. But if they're super pricey, then like, nah, fuck it. People will just take units that do damage instead of absorb damage sometimes. Like, the comparison is Deathwing Knights, right? But Deathwing Knights, all right. First of all, Deathwing Knights get all the Space Marine character attachments. So, like, what the fuck is that? These codexes are basically the same. You gain it. You keep your teleport homer. Their weapon profile is like identical, right? Oh, they're higher strength and higher attacks and higher weapon skill. Okay, just kidding. No, these are better in every way. Literally all the numbers are higher. And they can attach character Terminators. All right, this comparison's really damning, actually. Oh no. I was like, but the difference is that it's -1 damage versus -1 to wound. Like that's a side grade, right? But then the Deathwing Knights are like, what if literally everything about us was better in every other way? Okay, all right, Deathwing Knights, calm down. You can stop rubbing it in my face how much better of a datasheet you are. They are 70 points more expensive. But like, if you had some sort of if you had Deathwing Knights from Wish that were like way cheaper, it would probably still be okay. I think you could play them. And that's what I'm trying to say, ultimately. They are so much worse than Deathwing Knights, though. That's super funny. Oh my god, incredible. Highly points dependent, yeah. If the points are less than what they are in the Codex, I think there's maybe something there. Like imagine these guys in Gladius. Like you run like 20 attacks, like advance and charge, move 6, so they can like close distance okay. And it's 20 attacks with like Lance and AP1, right? And then like you take an objective, and there's just like these 5 fucking morons who are like -1 to wound with 1 trillion wounds. And you're like, ugh, I gotta slog through these fuckers. Like that's like a really interesting like paradigm. Or they like you like on a you like commit on a go turn and like run JPIs in and like body block your opponent, and then Wolfguard Terminators just like stand on all the midboard objectives. And you're like, what's up, dude? I have 1 million melee attacks if you want to charge me and not kill me. And I'm -1 to be wounded, so like I might just not die. But if they're like 180, 200 points, like you're never gonna do that ever. But if they're like 160, you'll be like, oh, I might play that. So yeah, I don't know. I think there's definitely a universe where this data sheet is good. A Stormlands full of yeah, like in Stormlands, it'd be sick actually. I don't think it works at 180, but I think it works at 165 or something. They do feel annoying to kill. Like I don't want to have to fight into 4 wounds, 4+ invuln, -1 to be wounded. Like a plasma cannon takes 2 conversions through a 4+ invuln that wounds on 4s. So a plasma cannon with 8 hits from a plasma cannon converts to 1 dead Terminator. 8 hits from like a strength 8 AP 3 damage. Like a Redemptor Dreadnought or something. Like that's a lot, dude. Maybe they are okay at 36 points per model. -1 to be wounded. I don't know. I think these guys might actually be good. I think I'm coming around. I think they might be okay, chat. Can they get feel no pain? Depends on the detachment. I think if there's a core marine detachment that gives no pain, they can't get anything from characters, and none of the Space Wolf detachments have any like defensive stuff. They can, if you have like Arjac in them, they can get -1 damage in Space Wolves, but that's it. I think there's a 6+ feel no pain in Anvil Siege Force, but you will not be playing them in Anvil Siege Force. I'm just going to head you off at the pass. We're not doing that. But why are they 2+ ballistic skill? I don't fucking know, man. They used to get +1 when they targeted the Oath of Moment target. Maybe that's like supposed to like trying to be that. I think it's maybe trying to give them a reason to not just go Storm Shields, but you're always just gonna go Storm Shields. You're never gonna play the trash, like the horrible Stormbolter profile. You need to like rework Stormbolter Terminators to be like Blight Lords, something where they like literally double their damage output when they're shooting their Stormbolter. Because the Stormbolter profile is so bad that it doesn't matter. You just take the extra wound and call it a day. Thinking Helverins would shoot through them, right? That's what I'm saying. Like as soon as you do anything, like the baseline Terminator defensive profile is really, really bad, right? 3 wound, like 2 + 4 + 3 wounds gets preyed upon by every heavy infantry sweeper in the game. Heavy infantry killers are specifically designed to kill literally that profile. As soon as you do anything to the math, though, it gets really weird. Like suddenly, so your Helverins are like, all right, we're assuming no cover, like I've immolated you or whatever, and maybe you have an Armor of Contempted or whatever because you've used it already. So a Helverin with Squire's Duty is putting you on your invuln and one-shotting a Terminator. The Storm Shield says, no, you're two-shotting me. And they go, okay. And then Rugged Resilience says, also, like, 20% of those wounds didn't wound. Because now you're going from wounding on 2s to 3s. So every single Helverin is probably dropping 1 to 2 wounds out of their roll, right? So they're probably handing, like, call it 4 saves. Maybe they kill 1 Terminator. And that's, like, not a good conversion. So I don't know. I think that, like, this is interesting. It's interesting. All right, let's move on. Fenrisian wolves. They have a reactive move. Well, that's why hunting wolves are are worse. Are cheaper. That's why they get an extra guy. When an enemy unit ends a normal advance or fallback move within 9, you can make a normal move up to Z6. Well, this unit's within 6 inches of a Space Wolf character. It gains OC1. Phenomenal. Bring these in every list. These are incredible. You love to see it, chat. What we're missing is an enhancement that lets a character join Fenrisian wolves and, like, be a little wolf, like a little pack leader guy. But that's okay. We'll forgive them. There's just the one that lets you join Wulfen. Well, I want to live the pack master fantasy. Head takers were supposed to do that, but they fucked it up. Dogs deploying teleport overs like we're back in 9th edition. I'm gonna fucking do a scrambler in the corner with these guys. Incredible. I'll retrieve Knockmund data with my Fenrisian wolves, sir. Yeah, you can take up to 6 total wolf packs. The thing to keep in mind, though, is that the head taker wolf packs can be larger, or can be 6 models instead of 5. But they'd lose the predatory instinct move. They don't have that ability. They have this one, but they don't have this one. So they're not exactly the same units, which is important to note. So you have to keep them separate. But yeah, you can have up to 6 little, like, wolf units running around, which is really cute. So yeah, I don't know. That's one of the better utility units, like, in the game, right? 40 points, situationally get an OC with a reactive move baked in, and move 10. Fucking okay, sign me up. Also moves through walls, eat your heart out. Canoptic scarabs, like, get wrecked. Wulfen. Move 9 is a number. That's a lot. They have Curse of the Wulfen, so while they're near a character, they get an OC value, so they can actually take objectives, which is great. You can still take up to 10. They get reroll hit rolls of 1. They just get reroll hit rolls of 1? Okay. Weird, but all right. Sure. And there's sustained 1 assault blast on. You have to take desperate escape checks when you fall back from them, but that means they haven't killed you, so we're doing something wrong. So they are 3 attacks, sustained hits 1, versus Storm Shield Wulfen, who are 2 attacks, anti-monster, anti-vehicle, and 3 damage. Interesting. I feel like you just take the Storm Shield guys. I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy. Move 9, anti-monster, anti-vehicle, 3 damage is really good. And they also reroll hit rolls at 1. So they kind of just, like, run themselves, and they're super fast. And you give enemies -1 to hit. But hopefully we're killing you again, so I don't know if that matters so much. Only 2 attacks, though, is a little bit spicy. But we'll see. If their points value is good, and you can take a bunch of them, then they're going to be great. Move 9 with an OC with an OC value to take objectives, huge. That's amazing. Oh, they give up the gun? Oh, they have the death totem, but they give up the death totem to take the launcher. Yeah, but you'll just take reroll ones to hit in melee instead of the terrible 4+ ballistic skill, strength 4 like blast weapon. Yeah, whatever. We're gonna take our cool totem. Thank you. Use the enhancement, add the 65 point God Hero. There's no fucking way that guy stays at 65 points. Those 6 wound, 7 attacking, dude. There's no way that guy stays at 65 points. Yeah, the enhancement to join this unit would be neat for sure. Definitely cool. Yeah, I don't know. It seemed great. Although I guess at that point, you don't need the death totem because they're gonna be rerolling anyway. So that's fine. Wulfen seemed very good. Old Murderfang over here, Curse of the Wulfen as well, so he can go to OC3. Each time an attack targets a friendly Wulfen unit within 6. Already noticing a little bit of like weird anti-synergy. Murderfang's like a buff bot for Wulfen, but doesn't grant them the OC bonus. So like, what are we doing here, guy? So that's weird. I don't know. I don't love that. And he grants them their fight on death. Probably not worth it. It's probably not worth it for like 160 point like vehicle to follow around your dudes who can go through walls and he can't. Unfortunately, I think the days of Murderfang being like incredibly strong might be over. He still hits really hard, and he rerolls advanced and charge rolls, which is fine. But you got to deliver him, and then whatever. Yeah, I don't know. Like I don't really understand the situation in which like we've committed both Murderfang and the Wulfen in exactly the same spot, and then we like are super worried about the Wulfen retaining fight on death. I guess it protects them like on like early game or something, but it's like weird that he doesn't contribute their OC. So if like both of them are on an objective, you still don't control the objective. So your opponent's not like, oh, I'm gonna go like charge the Wulfen in order to take it back from you and then trigger your fight on death, because they don't need to, because you don't have it unless there's something else there also. In which case, like I don't know if we need Murderfang. So yeah, I don't know. Well, this guy feels like a miss, maybe. He was way too strong before. I mean, if you set it up right, he was like silly good, but he wasn't like it. That was like, it was like so few, and like the times that happened were so few and far between. It was like whatever. If your opponent like literally walked into the trap of Murderfang killing everything, and then you rolled perfect dice, like yes, he could kill your whole army or whatever, but like it wasn't actually going to happen. More like murder, dang. Yeah. Wulfen Dread has a blood surge move. Each time an enemy unit is selected to shoot after it's shot, if you've lost 1 or more wounds, you can move. If he's equipped with 2 melee weapons, the melee weapons gain twin linked. Oh. So he can either take the Blizzard Shield for a 4+ invulnerable save or twin link his weapons. And the Great Axe hits on 3s now? Dang. That's good. So he can he can choose between hitting it with a D6 +1 or a flat 3. I feel like you just take you stick with the shield, and maybe you just take the axe or take the claw, I guess. Axe gives you an AP2 sweep profile though, so maybe that's better. I don't know. I'm not sure. Does he still get? Oh, the Blizzard Shield still gets a flavor. So if you take the claw and shield, he still gets his double heavy flavors. Whoosh. Incredible. If it's not, can you take double heavy flamers? Actually, wait, hold up. So if he's not equipped with the Stormbolter, you can replace his heavy flamer with the Stormbolter. So he starts with the Stormbolter. In order to get rid of that Stormbolter, you replace it with the Blizzard Shield. Yeah. So you do get 2 Stormbolters. Yeah, there's 2 heavy flamers. So I feel like you definitely still take the shield and claw one, the shield and claw or shield and axe version. I don't know. Love them. Wolfbots still online. Also, move 9. Let's go. They're faster than normal dreadnoughts now too. Like even like the enhanced Hellbrute like profile. Let's move 8. He's even faster. Whew. Let's go. And he has a reactive ability. What did they even do in last edition or in the index? I don't even remember. I played that list so many times. I don't even remember what it did. Because they were just there for like a big idiot to be a big dummy. They got charge mortals. That is better. All right, so we did lose the charge mortals. Or engagement range mortals. But I feel like that's okay. I don't know. Yeah, no mortal wounds. Yeah, I think that's okay. Having Blood Surge is like super obnoxious though, so it's like a side grade. It's like a little bit of a downgrade, but like in fairness, their numbers went up. They got a movement out of it. Also, their axe attack is like phenomenally better. They got an attack and a movement in exchange for blood surge or a surge move instead of mortal wounds. So I feel like that is probably a side grade. So I feel like we're still online for Wolfbots. I don't know. I think that's fine. Yeah, move 9 pretty good for sure. If we had a detachment for move through walls, could you imagine? Oh my god. Venerable Dreadnought still alive. Look at this little guy go with his his little cute wolf face. Space Wolf's units within 6 inches gain +1 to advance and charge. That includes himself, by the way. That's a really good rule. That also includes all the Wulfen Dreadnoughts you're about to be taking. I was kind of like low key hoping this guy would become a character. I think that'd be cool. That would be a really interesting way to like outlet a lot of these enhancements or whatever. But I guess we don't need that. His weapon profiles are basically the same. And he gets a gun. So if he either gets a Blizzard Shield for the 4+, invulnerable save, and he can take. So he starts with a close combat weapon and a gun, or he can switch the close combat weapon and the gun for a shield and an X. So I think you're taking the axe. I don't know if you're interested in one Hellfrost cannon shot or whatever, and we're just gonna take a big invulnerable save on our big stompy robot boy. They used to be move 6, right? They did. So he went up 2 movement, he went up an attack, and instead of reroll hit and wound rolls of 1 for infantry within 6 inches, he gained +1 to advance and charge for Space Wolves and himself. So he gained a potential 4 inches of threat range. And an attack on the baseline. But also that could be stacked with on other people. This guy's sick, actually. This model's amazing. I think Space Wolves are definitely still the best Dreadnought folks. For sure. There's no way that's not true. Yeah, these guys are great. Man. We're talking about those like little baby head taker units running around, and they're like basically like just move 9 potentially. That's awesome. That's phenomenal. Yeah, I love this guy. Woo. Yeah, the speed boost, it's huge. It's huge. Because you used to basically just have to like rapid ingress these guys to get use out of them. If they weren't just like buffing a gun line, which wasn't even that good because it only affected infantry. Now they're just like you can just hide him in a ruin in the middle of the table, and he just passively buffs your threat range in the like early to mid game, and then he anchors in the late game. Yeah, I think he's awesome. As long as he's not super duper expensive. I'm actually curious what the supplement points have these points values at. Wulfen Dreadnought at 145. Venerable at 140. Yeah, dude. I'll buy that for $1. Okay. I like this guy. He's cool. He's cool as fuck. All right. Dreadnoughts. Seem great. Plus, you get a free CP out of Bjorners as well. If Njall is next to them, can the unit move and auto advance 14? No. It adds to your advance roll, not your advance distance. So Bjorn replaces your roll with a flat number, so you haven't rolled any dice to add the advance bonus to, which is important to keep in mind. Surprised that a generic Space Wolf Dread makes the cut. Yeah, I honestly thought that they would get cut for a new kit or something. Or just they would cut the kit entirely, but they're keeping it around for at least for another edition. It is kind of showing its age, though. This Murderfang model is like a little hokey. I don't know, but Bjorn still looks great. Honestly, I like the Venerable Dreadnought. If I should make Wolfbot's list because it's like my favorite army archetype. I have a whole video about like how cool it is. And I like the little tiny wolf head. I think it's like so kooky. I love him. I don't know. I don't know why I think he's so fun, but I do. Now that I own too many 3D printers, I could build this army, and maybe I should. What do you think, chat? What did you do if I showed up to a tournament with like 9 dreadnoughts? I have the ballistas already. We're already there. We're most of the way there. Yeah, they're really easy to hide. Yeah, can confirm. These guys do not take up much space on the tabletop, for sure. Oops, all dreadnoughts. Let's go. Yeah, for sure. 6 Wolfdas and Bjorn coming in around 1,000. Yeah, we'll see what the final points value is. I wouldn't be too shocked if those actually went down as well. Like, I think Bjorn will probably come down. I wouldn't be super surprised if these like dropped 5 points or something as well. I don't know. They have been pushing like Hellbrute chassis pretty hard recently. What's the? Is it the World Eaters one that's like 110? It's like criminally undercosted or whatever. It's like insane. No Wolf Lord or Battle Leader. Yeah, no Thunderwolf characters whatsoever. Thunderwolf characters entirely gone. Also non-generic Terminator characters also gone. All the Wolfguard, the little like fun little Wolfguard guys who would go into other units, those guys are gone. Yeah, it's a big shakeup. But I don't know. I do have to hop off momentarily here, folks. So I am gonna start to wrap things up. I'll give some first impressions. I think that the faction seems really cool. I think that the supplement seems weird and kind of annoying. The keyword restrictions on the detachments make them feel very restrictive. And I don't know if I like that. And the more we were kind of like thinking about the math, the less I feel like you're going to just play you're going to play them outside of just like fucking Gladius Task Force bullshit, which is fine. But like the fact that you have so many asterisks on like what your units can do inside these detachments is and like which units benefit and which like what you have to keep track of and which units can unlock your Saga's abilities. I like the idea of the abilities and I think that they're probably fine, but they don't feel very strong to me. So the detachments feel like maybe a little bit of a miss. I might be wrong about that. Like some of the abilities once they're fully unlocked could be really good. Saga of the Bold especially is like these floating rerolls the whole army wide. Like that's literally what drives knights to be successful whatsoever, like at all. So that could just be strong and it could be easy enough to complete these that you just do it like instantaneously, but I don't know that for sure. But the data sheets look really cool. If you're playing reserve play, Logan can basically make any army into Stormlands, which is really sweet. Njall, I think, is like maybe a miss. He's like really good at delivering units, but not actually good at like he's not good himself. So like it doesn't really matter if he's being delivered. Ulrik seems great. He's like a chaplain plus. Bjorn, we talked about, seems like great as just like basically Space Wolf Martinius Calgar, which is awesome. Ragnar Blackmane maybe a miss. I don't know. He still hits like a truck, but you gotta put them in very specific units where you might be better off playing other stuff. I'm not sure. Arjac Rockfist seems great. The new Iron Priest seems great. Wolfguard Battle Leaders, fucking, if this guy's 65 points, I'll eat my goddamn hat. Because his just like the numbers on his data sheet are huge. So like I like the units. I think the units are really cool. I'm just a little bit worried about those detachments, but obviously you can just play fucking Claudius Task Force and call it a day, and I think you'll be fine. So that's what I think about it, chat. That is my. Can we go full scream and talk in detail about why generic Marines don't get the Space Wolf keyword? Yes. So the keyword is so faction keywords. I guess NC's so for those who don't know, NC Conroy is editing my VOD channel right now. And he's pushed me to make a short. So here's the short, right? So the new Space Wolf Codex includes a distinction between generic Space Marine units and Space Wolf specific units. Those are both affected by different things. So some abilities, data sheets, enhancements inside the Codex supplement will affect only Space Wolf generic units or may affect all Adeptus Astartes units. There is no way to gain the Space Wolf keyword at all. When you build your army, you are building an Adeptus Astartes army, and you can include only units with the Adeptus Astartes keyword. The Space Wolves keyword is called a chapter keyword and disallows the inclusion of other chapter keywords like Dark Angels or Blood Angels or whatever, but nothing gives that keyword to generic units. So anything that affects a Space Wolf unit will only affect units from inside the Codex supplement, which are things like head takers and blood claws and Grey Hunters and venerable dreadnoughts and all that stuff. And many abilities inside the supplement specifically affect all Adeptus Astartes units, which means that they will include the units that you are bringing that are generic from the regular Space Marine Codex, like intercessors and repulsors and impulsors and all that stuff. But the same is not true. So your entire army is always Space Marines. Only a select number of your units are Space Wolves units. Things that affect Space Marines will affect both, but things that affect Space Wolf units will only affect the units from the supplement themselves. This is the only supplement that works this way, and nothing causes that Space Wolves keyword to be applied to the other Space Marine units in your army. So it only affects the stuff that has the keyword on its data sheet to begin with. Yeah, and that's what I have. That's there you go. Hopefully that's good enough. Wolfbots versus all demon princes. Dude, let's set it up. Let's fucking go. Hopefully that like answers the question though. I know that like people were talking about this designer's note. That's not mechanical identity. I actually don't really like these designer's note because the designer's note feels like it's, I don't know. It's a little bit, like, I think it will confuse people for sure. Because it's like, it basically is saying that you can use the Space Wolf supplement to represent a chapter that plays like Space Wolves, but if you want to play Space Wolves specifically, you should own you can include the Space Wolves epic heroes like Logan Grimnar. The problem is that it makes it sound like the Adeptus Astartes units from your army are supposed to gain the keyword, but it doesn't actually do that. It just says that, like, from a lore perspective, the intercessors in your Space Wolves army are intercessors from the Space Wolves chapter, but they haven't been granted the keyword on their datasheet. And I know that there's going to be a lot of people that can get confused about that. And I kind of wish that the designer's note had said that specifically, but it didn't. I also think it's important to note that none of these units have the attachment rules like other Space Marine supplements have had. So, like, when you look at, like, Blood Claws or Head Takers or something, like, Blood Claws don't have a rule that says that other stuff can join them, right? Because, like, previously that said that, like, things that could join assault squads can join Blood Claw squads. Blood Claws are the Space Wolf assault squads, effectively. Those are gone. So things that could join what you would assume to join these guys, like assault intercessors, cannot join Blood Claws. Though there's no rules text that makes that true. Should make us a whole nickel. Yeah, the shorts are there to like improve reach. Basically, they improve your subscriber count, but they don't necessarily they don't make a ton of money unless they get like 1 million views, in which case they'll make a little bit of money. But yeah, it's a whole process. It's part of an ecosystem. It could be a bad edit and a edit in day one. I mean that could very well be the case, but I highly doubt it, because otherwise, why even include a differentiation between Space Wolf and Adeptus Astartes units, right? So like in this, like why are some of these affecting only Space Wolf characters and some of them affecting Adeptus Astartes characters? If they meant for one of those things, if they meant for those two things to be the same, they would not have they would not have included a differentiation between them. That would be like a phenomenally incompetent edit. Yeah, we have to give Games Workshop a little bit of credit, that they aren't, they do make typos in their codexes sometimes. I don't think that they have typoed almost literally every single keyword inclusion in the detachment section of this book, because otherwise, like they wouldn't have a differentiation between a Space Wolf model and an Adeptus Astartes model if the intention was for those two things to be identical. That would be shocking to me. Yeah, I don't know. All right, chat. Do we think fall data slate might make changes to the keywords issue so Terminators can be led? No, I do not think that. I think that the Codex is presented as designed, as intended. So I don't think that they will add attachment abilities. It could be wrong. Maybe I have that totally wrong. And actually, a lot of these like character synergies look amazing because we can add any character to a Space Wolves unit. But I don't think that's the case. Anyway, chat, I'm gonna go ahead and hop off. Thanks everyone for chilling with me. Thoughts on if Custodians will get new and updated models? No, because they already have a Codex. They might. They could get like random model drops like in the future, or kill team drops, but I doubt it. Their Codex has been released, so I don't think they're getting new stuff. Terminators have the Terminator keyword. Doesn't that mean they can lead anything that can lead Terminators? No. No. Read the keywords more closely, chat. Characters will typically say that they can lead particular varieties of Terminator, like Terminator Squad or Terminator Assault Squad. This is the problem that Champions of Fenris had when it released, is that they had a teleport redeployment stratagem that affected Terminator squads, which it turns out was literally only the version of Terminators with Stormbolters in them, which made it was like unusable because that unit's hot trash. So you'll find that most Terminator characters inside the Space Marine Codex can join us Terminator Assault Squads or Terminator Squads, not Terminator units. Sweet. Anyway, chat, I'm gonna hop off. I gotta go to a meeting. So thanks everyone for chilling with me. I will go ahead and redirect you again. I've said it 1 trillion times, but I'll say it one more time. Please. Watch me at DreamHack, because I'm gonna leave to DreamHack in like a couple hours. So, getting a little spicy over here. I'm getting excited. I rented a car and everything. It's gonna be a big deal. Anyway, folks, I'm out. See you, everybody. Keep it classy, folks. Have happy wargaming, and I'll see you on Friday.